Massive spoiler alerts if you haven't caught up to this chapter yet. Hello fans, in the last video I talked about my theories on how I believe Himeko is still alive and how Otto is technically a good guy. This is a continuation to that video because I still haven't talked about my third theory yet and how there are multiple timelines and the one we are following right now is doomed. If you thought the previous theories blew your mind, this is on a whole different scale, and there are a few things that the story has made obvious to us to know where the story of Honkai is headed. The first one is time travel. When you look at what Otto's trying to accomplish, he basically wants to reverse the timeline to bring Colin back to life. The second one is parallel universe, when Otto yoinked a copy of himself from the past to lure Hershov domination to give him the powers. The reason he was able to get powers was because the Otto he copied from the past was depressed. And why am I bringing this up right now? What's so important about being depressed? To put it simply, the more depressed a person is in Honkai, it is very likely for that person to get powers from a Hershov core. And Otto knew that fact. And that's why he cloned a past Otto that was depressed when Colin died. He specifically went to his past where past Otto was depressed so he could, to put it simply, copy him and paste his simulation in the real time to lure Hershov domination to latch onto him. This is how he was able to kill Hershov domination by donating his past body to bring Hershov domination in a tangible form, in a human form, so that he can kill her by killing his own past self. And even though he was villainized for killing himself, what Otto did was saving them from Hershov domination, because we weren't able to find the last remnant of Hershov domination. And I think this is exactly what's happening in the APHO2 with Void Archive, that alien thing. I think this is exactly the same plot Otto is trying to do. He's playing the long game. Even if he sacrificed his own body, what he's actually doing is providing us a tangible form to kill these beings. More about these theories in another video when I'll talk more about APHO2, but for now let's stick to what we are talking about right now. So this tells us the reason why he was torturing kids and clones like Kiana. I don't know, countless clones he made. He was torturing them for this reason. He wanted them to be depressed. He wasn't doing it because he liked it or he was a sick guy. I mean, he was a sick guy, but because he wanted Hershey powers by humanity's side. And Otto is a character that is way too rational. And rational doesn't mean he isn't empathetic. Just look at how much he cares about Colin, right? But as long as he can get the results he wants, the consequences doesn't really matter to him. As long as he can get what he wants, right? I would love to talk about Otto and Morpheus in a separate video. These are such great characters. I love it. And this explains everything why Sid and Kiana's clones were being tortured. It was for them to become Hershey's, and Otto knew how to create them. And I know I went a little too deep into this segment, but it was important for me to talk about because it will later connect with the next segment, and I promise. And by the way, if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel. It will help me out greatly, and it doesn't cost you guys anything. And there are going to be giveaways on the channel when we reach 100 subscribers. And we already given away my snack crate, my Honkai snack crate, and it was won by Saki, my Discord moderator. And also, guys, join the Discord family for giveaway news and just to hang out. And leave a like, why not, right? Thanks. And I could have talked about this in my previous video when I was talking about my theory how Otto is technically a good guy, but this is a part 2, right? So I guess the people who watched part 1 are watching part 2, so I guess it works out kinda, right? I'm getting lost. Oh yeah, the things the story has made obvious to us. First one is time travel, second one is parallel universe, the third one is bubble universe. These both things are different, but I'm not gonna go much deep into it right now. So Haldrandl had to pay the responsibility to nurture a bubble universe. I'm not gonna go much deeper again into this, but oh, the world itself is a fairy land, an alien land that is completely different to our universe, with its own biology, chemistry, and physics. The world is basically has its own sets of rules set upon it. So these things already exist in main story now. So theory about multiple timelines isn't far-fetched, but this isn't the reason why I believe in this theory. Remember when I said Otto copied himself? But one thing I can bet not many players realized when he said the way Otto copied his past self was with the help of the divine key that lets him not disturb the timeline. He copied himself without disturbing the timeline. He specifically uh, identified that fact. Now, you can dissect that. And you know the conclusion I came up with, if he's telling us that he can specifically do not disturb the timeline, that means there's a way to disturb the timeline. So when he was saying, let me overly simplify it for you guys. I know it's going to get a lot more complicated, but I'm here for you to simplify it. Let's say there's a file named author. You can either copy itself to a different folder, or you can cut itself to a different folder. What the real author did, he copied himself to the real time where we live, right? But he also telling us that if he wanted to, he could have cut pasted that older author, but that would have branched another timeline in which the author disappeared. That's what Otto was trying to tell us from that line. And I don't know how many people dissected that, but that is possible now. The game has basically told us, Otto has basically told us that yes, it is a possible for us in Honkai to create multiple timelines, to create these parallel universes. And what if I tell you this isn't the only time we have seen these things happen in the game? I want you to focus on this fact. Every time we get a new Valkyrie, it can be an A rank or a B rank, we also get a limited time side story event to justify the reasonings. Yeah, this is why the new Valkyrie exists in the game. This is how this Valkyrie gets these powers, right? And they always create these backstories for new Valkyries they add into the game, and we never pay much attention to these stories. I mean, we pay attention, but not in a way that I'm about to explain it to. So, to us, these are just another filler-esque stories created to justify a new A-rank Valkyrie, right? What if some of these stories were more than just filler-esque justification for a new A-rank Valkyrie? And many new Honkai players, again, will not know about some of these limited-time story events because they are gone now. But MiHoYo decided to do a rerun of an older SA event in the previous version. And the reason why I am freaking out right now, because the MiHoYo I know never does a rerun. In my 5 years of playing Honkai, they have never done a rerun of any event before. And why did they choose to do a rerun of specific SA event? Doesn't make any sense, right? And let me blow your mind right now. Let me blow your mind. When I said at the start of the moment, at the start of the video, that this video is on a whole different scale. I don't lie, guys. I'm not that kind of a guy. Now, I want you to go back to 1 month earlier when the previous patch came out, right? We get to play SA event. What was the story of SA event? I want you to remind yourself. Do you guys remember what was the story of SA? Yes, I'm hearing it. We go back to time to save Kongmin, to save SA. Now look back at the same time, what was the story we were playing? This was the exact same story we were playing in the real story and the SA event. Do you guys think there was a coincidence? I don't buy it. There is no such thing as a coincidence in Honkai. The reason why I'm freaking out is because this is exactly the same story that we are playing in the real story, and MiHoYo decided to bring that older story back at the same time to show us something crazy. And I'm gonna go crazy. Maybe I'm already am. So, what's so special about SA event or any other event that they have chosen from the past? Let me tell you. This is the only event that has some sort of continuation. As to it overlaps with other events. Now you ask me, what does that mean? Usually, these limited time story events have some sort of closure by the end of these events, and where every Valkyrie, let's say at the end, gets together and live happy ever after, and that's what we call a closure. To know that the story ended, and then we get a new story for the next limited time events for the next new era Valkyries that has nothing to do with the previous stories. But what's so creepy about SA event is there's no such closure at the end of SA event. But not only that, we also see the SA story continue through other events. Now, if you look at older Hexabronia event, if you have played it, let me explain. At the end of Hexabronia event, Hexabronia finds a way, with the help of DJI, to, let's say, start a rift in space-time, cause a rift in the space-time, and go into the Sea of Quanta, where she stumbles upon captain's ship. She was stumbling in Sea of Quanta until she found the captain's ship, and the one that greets Hexabronia was not Captain but Kongmin. Kongmin. The Kongmin story ended with SA event. There's no reason for them to show Kongmin unless they wanted to confirm to us that this story of SA story event was ongoing in the background. SA event is from a completely different era that has nothing to do with the Hexabronia event, because Hexabronia is from a futuristic style, futuristic times. So there's no relation between the two events, but it's more like they are completely different universes or timelines gathering together on a captain's ships. And you know what Captain was trying to do? He was trying to do exact same thing Otto was trying to do, to go back to save SA. That's what the Captain was trying to do. And we know from Otto that he wants to go back to an era where, to a time where Khan is still alive. And for us to go back 500 years ago, we have to sacrifice pretty much everyone on the planet, aside from us in the people in the city, and to become the fuel, right? We also need a fuel, and the whole world becomes the fuel. That basically means the whole world dies. So how many times did the captain sacrifice the worlds to go back in time? Because we know from SA events he does that quite a lot of times. It looks like to us that he's going back into different timelines and gathering Valkyries for some reason. For some reason he's gathering Valkyries, and I don't know, maybe it's a different threat, maybe it's Honkai, maybe it's even Otto, who knows, but he's preparing for something. So how many times had the captain already sacrificed the world to go back into time to gather Valkyries? Because now there isn't much of a difference between Otto and Captain. Captain is basically doing what Otto was trying to achieve. So I don't know where we can put them in terms of scale, who's bad, who's good. If this is what Captain is doing in the future, does that mean we should have listened to Otto back then? Does that mean Otto was right all along, that we should have gone back now to save the world later? If we would have listened to, let's say, Otto, what he was trying to convey to every single person, yeah, people will die right now, but we can go 500 years back with all our OP Valkyries that we have gathered, Husher of Reason, Husher of Sentience, Husher of Flame Scion. We can gather all our OP Valkyries and stop those events from happening ever again. The infestations that have happened throughout the histories will not occur again in the next 500 years, and we will have the peace and time to develop more things for the next 500 years. That's what I get out of Otto's plan. And the true heroes of the stories like Kiana, and everyone thinks of him as the sick bastard that who doesn't know what he's doing, right? Other than that he's a sick simp, right? That all he cares about is simping, but he could have saved the world if they would have listened to him. Technically, right? That's pretty much it. That's all I really want to talk about, and I know I talked about a lot of things. This is a very interesting topic or theory about, I don't know, it feels too real to call it a theory now, right? If you dissect every single thing like a freak I am, so I don't know. Again, this is a very interesting topic. This is a very interesting topic or theory about some sort of continuation of some other filler-esque stories that might not be fillers or might very well be a future where we desperately try to gather Valkyries from all the bold universes to fight off a greater threat. Who knows? It might be the will of Honkai, or it might be Otto. Because the story has made one thing clear to us, that Otto cannot die, and I dissected that too. But one thing I want you guys to know, that I may very well be a stupid guy, and I can be completely wrong, because overanalyzing is never a good thing. I know that, but it's fun to talk about it, right? might very well make myself a clown. Why not? For you guys' entertainment. It's a win in my book. So one thing is clear to me, that Otto cannot die, and I'll try to delve deep into that argument in another video. Until then, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you guys think of multiple timelines and Captain actually being the one following what Otto was trying to accomplish. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.